Good evening to everyone. I hope that you've gotten all the notices and messages that I was coming on this evening at 9 o'clock. And I'm glad to be here and happy that this evening for Sunday evening for me, I know some of you are in different countries and different time zone, and you're just now coming on. It might be daytime or even the middle of the night. I've received a lot of your messages, and I'm really glad to be joining you. And thank you for joining me in this message that I'm going to put out for this evening. I'm going to wait just a few minutes, maybe about another minute or two, to let some more join us. And I'm going to pause for just a minute and give everyone time. Usually I'm a couple minutes late because I usually have technical trouble, but I started early this time and I think we've got it straight. It's supposed to share in a couple of the different groups, but it doesn't let me do it. And I end up having to go back to my main page. If someone could please share this in Kim Chadwell community, I would appreciate it. It was, even though I've got the integrated camera system, it's not letting it go into that group. So if someone could share it over there, that would be great. So hope everyone is doing good and well, and I look forward to some time with us together this evening. And I'm going to just wait another minute and I'm going to start. Good to see your messages. It's hard for me to talk and read at the same time. I know a lot of people like to type messages, but it's hard for me to glance over. So I'm going to look hello to several of you writing messages, and I hope all's good. You can send a thumbs up or tell me how you are and how your week has been, how your day has been, and I hope it's been wonderful. Also to those that I have on the conference line, we have a lot of people that get on the conference line that are not able to get on Facebook, the social media platform, and we have, in fact, several from other countries that get on the conference line. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I see lots of hearts and smiles. I think I saw an angry face. I hope someone's not having too bad of a day. So for those of you who may not know me, I am Kim Chadwell. I hope you're doing good. And what is going on is that God is on the move. And I have seen this particular week and in the last 2 to 3 weeks, as much has gone on publicly in the courts about abortion, a lot of movement in the world, so to speak. I've also seen a lot of movement in the spirit and in the churches. And I see a lot of people starting to wake up. And that's really the heart of my call that the Lord has placed a burning in my heart, is to bring people to a higher level of conscience, if that's the word. I've always told people that my branch, my area that the Lord has assigned me is 2 things. And that is holiness and accountability. So if you read what I write and listen to what I put out, that is always woven throughout what I do. And that's my particular branch. And so this has been my heart and my passion and my burning. And so when I start to see a move in this direction, I'm very, very excited, because I know that God is working in the hearts of his people, the holy people who are choosing to hear the call in the wind and hear what's going on in the hearts of his people and the heart of God and what he is longing for. So there's a couple of things I want to share before I get into my message this evening. First of all, please go to the website kimchadwellministries.org and enter your location and your email. You don't have to leave your name unless you want to. But what we're doing is we are putting together a database of where everyone is at. And it's giving us an unbelievable idea of where everyone is. We had last weekend the Call to the Holy, a time of mourning. We had over 15 countries participate. And that was in 8 days of putting the word out. That was not paying for any advertising. That was not doing anything professionally to let people know. That was God working and moving very quickly in a short period of time. I received a prophetic word about 3 or 4 days before the super blood wolf moon. So I was working on that word. Then we had the super blood wolf moon. And then at 12:12 a.m. on the 21st, I knew that God's hand of protection was lifted. And then a little over 24 hours after that, that's how quickly things are moving. That's when the New York law took place regarding abortion. And then from there, it's going rapidly, rapidly. And one of the reasons this is going so quickly, and you're seeing so much movement, is that there's going to be a challenge in the United States Supreme Court regarding Roe versus Wade. And the states are very aware of that. So that's why they're rushing so quickly to try to get it passed, that they are going to do it. They're trying to get terminology and they're trying to get technicalities cleared up and making it very clear what their position is as a state, so that when the Supreme Court rules, if it rules against it, in favor of the ban or against it, that the states are already in position to fight against it. So that's why you're seeing such a rapid move in the states. At the same time, the Lord put on my heart to call for a fast, and I called it an Esther call. I put the word out and it moved very quickly. So last weekend, many of you participated in the fast or a portion of it, or maybe just tuned in when we had different ones speak and pray. And it was just an amazing move of God. Then we had communion together and we prayed together at a certain time on our knees. And it was phenomenal. During that time, I had a vision. And I told that on the Sunday night. And since that vision, and so we're just 1 week, actually it's 1 week ago right now. Since a week ago, I have received several visions and several words and really an explanation and the how and the details of what I'm to do, we're to do, and what my call is in specific to this. And I'm going to share some more about that tonight. So first of all, please go to the website. The website's been exploding like crazy, but we are keeping up with it. We really, really would like to know where you are. And some of you are going into the website and sending a personal message. Don't do it that way because it bumps it into a different category. Go right on that home page where it says Holy Nation Rise. Right there is where you put your information in. And some of you are sending it through emails, and then we're trying to switch it over to that other database, and it's taking a lot of time. So if you don't mind, do it that way, and it all goes into the same spot. One of the things that I am going to talk to you about in this short message is the desperate need that I have, that we have, for helpers, for workers. I know what God has asked me to do, me to lead, me to say the charge, but I also need some help. There's only one of me. And I know there's many of you out there, many of you that have been seeking and desiring a purpose in your life, a purpose within your church community maybe, or just that you have felt that you were an outcast or unnoticed or unwanted, or you feel that maybe you don't have an ability to offer. Many times it's a combination of several things. Sometimes it's the fact that maybe they overlook you or they don't choose you. Sometimes it could be that you're not necessarily feeling so comfortable to speak up. So there's a lot that goes on, and that purpose and that call within you lays dormant, and sometimes it can just die and you begin to feel like, I don't have anything to offer. I want to tell you, we need you. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. I don't care if you're homeless. I don't care what your circumstances are. Because I know that God has set apart a holy people, a holy nation, and it's not the traditional church. And I know that, and many people know this. The churches need a lot of work. There's going to be judgment in the church. God has told me he's going to clean the pulpits. He's going to come through and clean up the churches. There's many of you that are going to church and you feel like something's missing. And that's not because maybe something is necessarily really wrong. Maybe it could be. But it's also that it could be that you have a deeper desire to do more. And you always want to feel like something's missing, not off, but missing. That's because you want to be challenged. I want to be challenged every day. I want to have a new revelation every day. I want to have a new conviction every day. I want to have a new brokenness every day so that the next day I can do more. I can serve better. I can give more of myself. I can be challenged to a higher level, a higher degree. So I'm telling you, this call of the holy people, the holy nation, what God told me, he is asking the holy nation to rise up. He didn't say to me, tell the church to rise up. He said, the holy people, tell my people to rise. God told me that those will know, the holy people will know when I say it. They'll feel a connection to it. If they feel defensive or if they're unsure, to move on. The holy people will know. And it may not be the person with the stamp of title, pastor, deacon, been in ministry for years. That may not be the person that responds. It may be the bikers, the homeless, the poor, the one filled with tattoos, the one that's been in prison, people that have gone through hardship and brokenness, but have the secret and the keys inside and are willing to serve and work hard. I'm not looking for the traditional people. I'm looking for holy people to hear this call, to rise up. It's time to speak against what's going on. We're going to be doing several things in the next few weeks. March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, it's going to be real easy to remember. We're going to go on another 3-day fast. Then April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, we're going to do it again. I'd like you to mark May 1st. It's a Wednesday on your calendar. More information is coming. And those of you maybe that are listening and you have not heard what my vision was, I'll share that. I was in prayer. It was during the fast. And usually when I'm in repentance in my prayer, I usually just picture myself in front of the cross, something like that. And I was just praying during the time of prayer. And it was on the Saturday of the fast. And I had this vision. It was sort of dusk in the vision, not quite dark, but a little bit dark. And I saw a hand come out of the clouds, and I felt a very large hand go on my head. I felt it like engulf my head as if my head was small. The hand was so big. And so like in visions, they're usually 3-dimensional. You see it from different angles. Also, you feel it, plus you hear. And so I saw it from behind, and I could see the hand come across through the clouds and on my head. And I heard the words, "You are Esther. Tell my people to rise." I began shaking, and I was crying and weeping, and it's such a huge undertaking and a charge, and I was very surprised, but I felt a peace, and I felt confirmation, and I felt a sense of duty, and I did not feel fear, because usually sometimes you could be afraid, how can I do it? I felt some uncertainty, but each day God has revealed how I'm to do it. Each and every, I know completely how I'm going to do it. And what I'm asking for is that a couple of things. One, holy people, it's time for us to rise. What is happening with the murder of the unborn and now the murder of the born, although they're going to call it, I think it's like 4th term abortion, that's just a very polite mask for murdering a live child. So the children, the small children, the newborn children, it's going to continue. It's going to go all the way to age 2. There's already some writing and some laws that's coming. Then it's going to bump into the elderly and those that are sick, maybe those are handicapped that have, this is not going to stop. And it's going to stop when the holy people rise up. And I'm going to say this. If you want to, for example, some homosexual community, if you want to be LBGQRS, whatever you are, God did not create robots. You have the freedom of choice to choose that lifestyle. You have the freedom of choice to choose what you are going to do one way or the other. We all have freedom of choice. But what I'm going to tell you as a holy people, you will no longer tell us that we have to accept what you're doing. You will no longer tell us what we can and cannot say. You will no longer tell the holy people we cannot call you a she or a he, and we're going to be in trouble because we say it wrong. We get you wrong because you've made a decision to call yourself that. You will no longer dance and prance around in buildings and tell the holy people that they are required to put their children in the room with you. You will no longer tell the holy people we are required to sit and watch you. You will no longer tell the holy people that we're going to sit and watch you and be quiet. I want to tell you, and anyone that is listening to me, if it's only me, I will not be Pilate and walk away. I will stand up if I have to stand alone. I will stand up against the stupidity of the things that are going on. I saw, and I shared this in the last video, I saw a video where they were mourning dead trees, crying and weeping and carrying on, and there was a huge ceremony around a tree stump. I thought of sort of a joke. It wasn't a joke, and I laughed, but what do we do? Send shrubs for flowers? I mean, it's ridiculous. Stupidity. Holy people, we know right from wrong. Holy people, we know our God. We know what it is, but we have been lazy, silent sheep, lazy lambs, sleeping sheep, glutton on the fat of freedom of choice. We live in this, for those in the United States, we live in a democracy, in a democratic society. We vote. We take the majority. We're so accustomed to the choices that rather than choosing obedience, we have this maybe I will, maybe I won't mentality because we're so used to voting and making choices instead of choosing obedience. I've seen over and over and over, people want the blessings. They cry during church services. They want, their hands are out. Give, 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 give. God, God, I want this from you, God. But you don't hear anything about obedience. We have to be obedient before we receive the blessing. We have to be pure and holy people, not perfect people. He's not asking us to be perfect. He will guide us, but we have to make choices to live a holy life. When we choose to walk in a holy life, when we become righteous people, what is righteousness? I shared that in another message, that I dug in the word, looked and looked and looked for the definition of righteousness. It was always referred to, but there wasn't a clear definition of it. Peace comes through righteousness. That's how you get peace. Okay, so what was righteousness? Look in the first chapter of Job. He feared God and he shunned evil. And then several times that phrase is referred with others. Fear God. Fear our God. Revere him. The fear of God's the beginning of wisdom. And two, shun evil. Shun is to turn away, run away. Don't even be near it. We have danced with the devil. We've stood in the room. We've been right at the line. We've been silent in the room, in situations that we knew were ridiculous. We knew was open, pitiful, sinful filth. And we chose silence because we didn't want to make waves. Well, we need to make some waves. No, it's not that we're going to be a rebellion. No, it doesn't mean that we're going to challenge everybody. We're going to speak the truth in love, but we are going to speak. We are no longer going to be silent. This is the call that I have chosen, and I'm charging you and I'm asking you for help. I need help with media work, the website. I need financial help. Every avenue of this. It's just me in this beginning stage. Many of you have sent messages, and thank you. We're getting them. But I'm begging you, I need people to step up. What we need is we're going to try to we need like a communication chain. That's what helping is. So don't feel like it's going to overburden you or it's going to take up all of your time. We just need help getting the word out of how this holy nation is going to rise. And this is worldwide. I've got too many messages and communication from other countries that are hearing the call too. As I've told you, it's not that it's in the volcano. It's in the fire. His voice was not in the earthquake. It was in the wind and the gentle whisper. What is so unique about a whisper? You have to be close to the speaker to hear the whisper. There is a call that's been in the wind. It's been about 10 days. Did you hear it? Don't wait for someone else to tell you it's okay to pay attention. Don't wait for an announcement to tell you it's okay to hear that. Many are going to miss it. Many are going to hear it. Many are feeling the conviction. Many are starting to realize we've got to do something. And the Lord has placed that burden upon me. And that's why I'm doing these messages. And that's why I'm putting out this call. Holy nation, we must rise up. We have to speak for the unborn. We have the blood on our hands until we've spoken up. The blood is on our hands. I individually, I am not going to my death without having spoken up. I will not go to my death without my signature on legal forms saying that I am speaking against it. So that when I meet my Maker, when I am at the throne of judgment, I will be looked at and I will be seen that I wrote, I stood, I prayed, I proclaimed. I was a voice. I'm going to speak. We have a whole nother category that we have to deal with. So we're talking 40 million babies worldwide. So let's just say 50 million. We also have 50 million women connected to this. What are we doing for these women? How are we helping them in repentance? How are we helping them beforehand in our education, in our love, in a place for them to come to? What about the doctors? How many people are involved in this? It is connected to money. What about the driver that takes the woman to the abortion clinic and picks her up? How many people are involved in this? Millions. This is worldwide catastrophic issue and problem. And the holy people just go to church or don't even go to church, watch it online, clap their hands, say their prayers. But what are we doing just in that category? There's so many other categories of things we have to do as a holy people for God to recognize us. Yes, we love Jesus. Yes, we accept him, but we must serve him. We need the head, the mind of a warrior, the heart of a lover, but the hands of a servant, the feet of a marcher. We need souls and or holes in the soles of our shoes. We must not stop. Our hands must have blisters from serving. Our heart from weeping. Our mind, sometimes I can't go to sleep. My mind, it doesn't turn off. The things I know I must do. And let me tell you, rejection's part of the journey. Happens to me all the time. This is not about being popular. This is not being the one that gets chosen. You may not even look like the traditional leader. God doesn't look on the outside. He's looking at your heart. And I know there's people that are hearing me that have a call within you. You have a burning to do something. Connect with us. We need you. I need you. I want you. I accept you. Warts, blisters, scars, and all. I want those with experience in failure. You can get people all day long that want to be in the front. And they start running and they start doing, but as soon as there's some pressure, as soon as there's some difficulty, as soon as there's some conflict, as soon as there's a challenge, they fall apart. I need those of you that have walked a rugged road. I've walked a rugged road. I've been to hell and back my entire childhood. Years of it. Years I felt like I was no good. Years I felt marked. Years I felt that I couldn't contribute. Only for me to look suddenly one day and realize it was all part of God's plan to make me strong. I'm strong in areas. It's unbelievable because I have lots of scars, but they've made me strong. They've given me compassion. It's given me wisdom. It's given me insight. It's given me drive. It's given me purpose. I'm not going to keep walking on this road and not help those behind me and say, don't go there. Here, do it this way. Go that way. But there's rejection along the way. The traditional people feel uncomfortable. The people that claim to know more than you will reject you. But that doesn't change what God has put and burned inside your heart. Rise up, holy people. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing Do you know that that's what Satan likes to go after? He's not going to take your gift away from you. He's not going to take your talent away from you. He just wants to take your desire away from you. He wants to wear you down so much that you just don't even want to do it. And you feel like, I just quit. In the last 10 days, since I have received the vision, I put the charge out for the fast, 15 nations in 8 days without any advertising. And in 8 days, or excuse me, about 10 days for me, in 10 days' time, I've had two major water leaks where I live. It's been horrible. Water, mildew, mold, loss of items, loss of things, a mess, financially strained like no other. And one also very scary trip to the hospital. So I know how this works. You want to know how it works? The more you step out, the tighter the squeeze. That's how it works. You want comfort? You can't serve that way. It's not real. It's not genuine. I know how the squeeze works. Did you really mean it? Can you do without? Can you suffer and still do it? Can you suffer and still stand? Can you have nowhere to live and still serve me? Can you have no money and still serve me? Will you still do this for me and have nothing? This is what Jesus did. So why do I think I should have any better? Jesus had no place for his head. He roamed and taught, and they followed him and listened to him. It was not about the physical comforts of this world and this earth, and his message is still being heard and talked about 2,000 years later. It's not about fame. It's not about fortune. I say over and over, you want to be famous? You get on a cross and die, and everyone will know your name. How far are you willing to give up? What are you willing to let go of? What are you going to do for your God, for your Christ who died for you, who provides for you? God is providing for us. It's not easy, but it hasn't changed my drive. In fact, like I said, I am educated. I am experienced in failure. I know, check mark, check mark, check mark. I know how this goes. It's not easy, but it's the most blessed. I may not have some of the things in the physical, but I have an inner happiness and an inner drive and a joy. It can't be taken. And I pray that Satan will not begin to attack that, because there's many times you can become so weary that that's what he wants. He wants to wear down your desire. I'd like, in closing, the video, A Call to the Holy, our first professional video. It's a little bit long. It's not super long, but it's not a 3-minute video. Okay? A Call to the Holy. Please watch it. Please share it. It's intense. It's convicting. It's challenging. And I've had people say they've wept. Other people said, whoa, a lot of responses. It can give the word to someone that you may not know how to say something to. Send them the video. Ask them, please watch it. Please share it. We'd like to have more and more people see it. Okay, I've already said that I only want helpers that have experience with failure. And if you can actually help, if you have a skill, and God told me this, that people with different skills and abilities are going to rise up and offer it. This is going to be amazing as we progress. We're only a week into this since I had the vision. And so we're 10 days and about 2 weeks now since I put the word out about the fast. So we're just 14 days into the birthing of this. If you can help in some way in the ministry, whatever you feel you can offer, please email holynationrise@gmail.com and put on the subject line helper or something like that. And I need to mention this. I don't know if this person is listening, or I should say a few people. There's a handful of people that are filling up my website, personal messages that bump to a different email, and also the site up, that are giving these prophetic messages, and it's filling up our emails. And I would politely like to ask you not to do that. God has spoken to me. I have been hearing from God since I was a little girl tied up in a closet. I hear from God. Doesn't mean that I'm perfect. It doesn't mean that I hear it all. But I'm very in tune with what is happening right now. I'm very in tune with the people that God is connecting me with. And I would politely ask you to please not send those, because we're so busy with the other messages, and they're very long messages that you're sending. And I just don't want to start hitting delete because we don't have the time right now to read those long messages. Okay. This ministry, we're going to shift a little bit in time, that it's actually going to be called Holy Nation. Right now, this is Holy Nation Rise, because that's what God told me. Tell my people to rise. And so you're going to hear Holy Nation Rise, Holy Nation. But the entity, the organization that this has become and becoming is Holy Nation. We are based on Isaiah 58. Please read Isaiah 58. It is a fascinating chapter. And what people don't realize is many times when we're commanded, especially with the poor and the hungry and the homeless, right afterwards, there's always a promise. And Isaiah 58 has 3 sets of instruction with 3 sets of promises right beneath each set. In our particular ministry, we are going to have 7 parts to our ministry. We're going to be offering shelter. We're going to be offering for the homeless and refugees, legal aid for those that have legal issues, also moral legal issues as far as abortion. We're going to help with the food for the poor. We're going to be giving education, holy education for the young, and education for new Christians. And we're going to have an area that we call bondage. That's going to be for addiction, the child trafficking, overcoming abuse. All of that is based on Isaiah 58. Is this not the fast that I have chosen, to loose the chains of injustice, legal, to set the captives free, bondage, to share your home, give shelter to the poor wanderer, that's shelter, to give food to the hungry, obviously. You know, and if you read that, that's exactly how the structure is of this ministry, that it's been in the works for a few years, but the Lord is obviously shaping and molding this and being more and more specific, and our children are involved, our family. And God has sent us to this particular area where we are living right now, and we know that this is not permanent, at least where we are physically right now. But God sent us here. And let me tell you the 3 things, and I'm going to close. God told me that when the holy people hear this, and they hear it in the wind, and they hear this charge, and they hear this call, that it's time to rise, that 3 things were going to happen. One is that they were going to have a supernatural sense of identity. You know, in Genesis, it talks about the Jewish people, that God placed in their hearts that they would never again not know who they were. So that's why the Jewish people, regardless of where they are on earth, they know who they are. They just know, they have that sense. It's within them. God placed it in them. And God told me that the holy people that rise up in this and get involved with this and are ready to speak up and rise up, that supernatural same identity that he gave to the Jewish people is going to come within us. We're just going to know who we are. You don't have to convince other people. And I've told those that are sharing what we're doing, people will get it or just move on, and they won't get it. You might think that person would, and you thought for sure they would support you or get involved. Believe me, all those who say, Lord, Lord, are not true in their hearts. So number 1 is that supernatural sense of identity of a holy nation, a holy people will get to where they just know it within them. Number 2 is that a supernatural compass, of moral compass, of right and wrong, is going to rise up within the holy people. We know right from wrong, but it's time that compass kick in. No more nonsense. No more stupidity. No more tolerating what's upside down and inside out and backwards. We know right from wrong, and we must speak up for right and wrong. And we're going to have a sense of that bar raising, and it's not going to bend and be pliable, move around. We know right from wrong. We know black from white. We know the holiness and darkness. We know light and dark. That moral compass is going to kick in. And number 3 is a supernatural connecting of people, a holy people with each other. And you may not have ever known each other before previously, but it's going to be a supernatural connection as if you've known them for years. This happened to me just a couple of days ago. I met a couple of people, and it was by an odd circumstance. And we all knew that this was a divine appointment. We ended up meeting, well, really all together, it was probably 5 or 6 hours, but we were together with something else, and then we probably met for a good 4 hours. And I think we could have gone through the night if we hadn't gotten sleepy and the place hadn't closed up. It was amazing. And I know that God brought them in my path to help with this, but not only just this particular ministry, but to connect a holy people. And I look forward to when we get together next. And it's going to be hours. And we're going to feel refreshed and energized. It's going to give us hope. It's going to give us purpose. All those years that we suffered and tried and worked and served and toiled. And then we get connected to someone that gets it. There's many of you, you've been walking on this rugged road. You're climbing a hill. But I've told the Lord, Lord, no matter what you put on my back, no matter how heavy that pack is, no matter how heavy the load, may I not stop. May I heed the words of Paul, don't give up, run the race, keep going. When you think about Ephesians 6, and it says, when you've done all to stand, it means to stand back up. Though a man fall down how many times, but he gets back up. That's where success is. It's not how many times you fall. That's not what people are looking at in the race. When they're watching that marathon, and you know how it is, someone's just barely limping, and they're about to really have a stroke, but they're determined to finish. They fall down. Oh, look, he fell. Oh, he got back up. Oh, she rose back up. Oh, this is amazing. Look how long she's gone. Got back up and still kept the race. Get back up. Stay on your feet. Dust off the soles of your shoes and keep going. Thank you for joining me. Please go to the website, kimchadwellministries.org. Enter your information, your location. Please email me specifically if you want to help, if you have a skill, anything that you can do that can help us. And remember, on March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd will be our next 3-day fast. We've got more information coming. Be sure you sign up. And I'll close with that. I am Esther. Holy people, it's time to rise up. God bless you.